What is the programming? What is the software development? Hey, can I learn that stuff? Is it like even possible? Most of the folks have difficulties to understand what is the programming, what is the software development, how it's done, and can you even learn that? When you're working, when you're busy, when your energy is drained, it's really hard. It's really hard to do. But what can be done? You're working approximately like 40 hours a week. So you want to make a time for whenever you have a free time outside of the work, you can learn. First, you can ask a help from your partner if you have one. If you're living with your wife, your husband, your friend, ask your partner help you with the home chores, right? Like cleaning the house, help you with the cleaning the house, help you with making the dishes, cooking, preparing some stuff before work, after work, going for the groceries, doing a lot of things. Like if you have to care for the car or for the kids, ask your partner to, while you will be learning for the new stuff, cover you for that time. It's really important because let's imagine if you will be busy for like 3 or 6 months approximately, ask your partner to cover you that time. Maybe especially for the first time, for the first days or months, weeks. It's important to have support of your partner, and your partner knows what you will be going through and that you will not be available for something else, because that will be for the time being your priority number one. And it's important to have a time for that, and dedication and support from your partner. Another thing what you can do is change your routine in terms of when you go to sleep and when you wake up. So let's imagine you working from 9 to 5, you wake up early in the morning around like 7 if you have to commute, if you have to prepare, and you go to sleep around 11. So what you can do, you can shift that time, and let's say you will go to the bed earlier, like by 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. and you wake up, of course, early in the morning. If you go 8, you can wake up 4. If you go 9, you can wake up 5 a.m. So once you make that shift, you have like a couple hours you still from yourself. You have to sacrifice something in the evening in order to use that in the morning. It doesn't have to be the morning. You can use your evening time. The mornings are easy. You have a lot of energy to learn, and it's the beginning of the day. Like after the 30 minutes of your waking up, you just go and learn. On the contrary, if you do that on the evening, it's still possible, but you'll have less energy. Usually by the evening, we drained for the energy that much. Have something for just like watch TV or play the games or do something which is less energy consuming. What you can also do to make a time is remove all your minor activities. By minor activities, I mean watching movies, some, hobbies. Put it on the pause. Games, whatever you do, which is not your primary time for the work, you will cut that stuff and just allocate it to your learning fund, fund of the time, which you'll be using later. One more thing you can do is allocate time at the work. If you work from home, you can still manage your work. You can work like some less hours in specific time. Just make your minimum and focus on the learning. Once you're done learning, you will switch from that job to the software development, right? Like you will not stay at this job. If you don't have that option, try to use your time while you're dedicated to the work. I'm not saying completely slack from the work. That comes with punishment, right? Like you can be fired. You don't want to risk your income. You can still read books or courses while you're commuting, if you like commuting on the train, on the subway, not driving, of course, or when you have like a lunch break, you can turn it on from the phone, from the whatever you sort of have, like iPad, laptop, and watch it for the while. The main idea here is do minimum from what your work requires you, and not like put 100% energy there. Just try to allocate some energy for your learning, but not try to excel at your current work, because your idea is to switch your energy to something new, which is software development. We still understand that there is a big difference between when you're learning programming part-time, and it's a big difference when you like quit the job, just go full-time learning. And there's definitely pros for that, right? Like you don't risk your income, you go on your own pace, and probably you don't have enough money just to stop working, finish learning, and find a job. So that's a big difference between part-time and full-time. What about your actual goals through the learning? It's to get a job. Important part to that journey to your final goal is pace of your learning would be like a very aggressive. You will be, I don't know, learning 4-5 hours a day every day, or it will be like a slow pace, 1 hour a day. By the way, 1 hour is I would say a bare minimum you have to stick, because less than an hour it's usually not enough for you to set up, focus, start working, learning, and allocate and saved in your memory, right, in your brain. You sort of define expectations to the end goal. With the slow one, it could take you maybe way longer than the aggressive. So that's important part to consider. By regulation of your pace of your learning, you somehow managing when you get that final goal, actually switching the job. Another thing to consider, a coach. So it also depends on your budget. You buy the courses for like $20-$30 online, or you buy books, you find some free resources, and you learn on your own. So that's like a very minimum budget. What you have to have is just like a average laptop with the Windows installed. Your mentor or the coach can boost your learning, can meet you at the very beginning, set up the road with your expectations, and maybe meet you with later on, like in a week or in 2 weeks, and maybe later on in a month. Then next meeting could be in 2 months, depending how you go. You don't have to meet with a coach like daily or weekly, but it also depends, of course, on your budget. Like if you have enough money, you can spend more hours with a coach, and that will somehow boost your speed of the learning until some point, of course, because you can't like speed up something which is totally dependent on the way how you learn, how you grasp that material, and how much you practice, because practicing means a lot in learning of programming. Another thing is to consider, because you're learning, then you're searching for the job. It's another process. It's process of preparing for the interviews, taking this coding challenges, coding tests, talking with the people, and that will take your time and require some skills as well. So preparation is important at that part as well. It's important to consider market conditions. For example, the pre-COVID market conditions was pretty good, not bad. When the COVID hit, demand for the developers was extremely high. And once the 2022-2023 year, the year when the big companies started to lay off a lot of tech recruiters and developers, so demand went low. So now it's like getting better. It's 2024, and it's really improving from the last 2 years. But still, it's important to consider that market conditions. How much is demand for the role, how competitive it is, because that will impact how long it will take you to get that job. Especially if you're doing it full-time. That could be risky, so it's important to consider. And it's also important to manage your expectation throughout that journey to your final goal, getting a job. Like if you take the course, like let's imagine you took a couple courses. They are like around like 60 hours, and another one is 60 hours. Usually they're huge, the big ones. What you don't want to do is try to calculate how long it will take you by the hours of the length of the course, because if it's course of 60 hours, it will probably take you minimum 2 times of that amount, triple or multiply by 4, because the way you your learning will go, you will put on the pause, you will be returning back, you will go again, like you will not watch it as this YouTube video. Don't measure and forecast that you will finish the course in the amount of hours it was recorded. The real picture is usually way slower, taking more time than you imagining or calculating. Discipline and frequency is very important. If you can allocate 1 hour a day and you do that daily, every day, 1 hour, it's way better than doing 10 hours in 2 days over Saturday and Sunday. Why it's important? Because you creating some discipline, you're creating some system where you have a habit of sitting down and learning. Of course, if you can do 2 hours or 1.5 hours every day, that's even better. But don't wait for the weekends to start learning. Of course, on weekends you can do way more, but it's important to have a consistency on a daily basis. Don't slow down on the weekdays. The worst you can do is put it on the pause for the month, for the 2, for the 3, or even 6, because you traveled somewhere, you had some problems, you were sick, or somebody in your family was sick. So you were busy and you had some excuse not to learn daily. That's really a big problem because that will set you back. If you were through the course 1 month and then you paused it for the 2 months or for the 2 weeks, and you will be coming back to start learning again, you will have to refresh everything you learned before. You have to go through everything again, and it will take you a lot of time just to remember. It's almost like a learning again because you didn't practice it. You didn't practice it before. It's not your profession, it's something you're learning. So it will take you a good amount of time just to remember everything, and it's almost like you're just going through that timeline again, almost from the scratch. Believe me, I did that mistake many times, and I'm not recommending doing that. Another thing is important is doing the practice. The most courses, especially on Udemy or YouTube, they are video based. Every teacher in there will say you, hey, it's important to practice. You will not learn if you're not practicing. You're watching stuff, this is theory. Then you have to immediately open your IDE, software editor, and keep practicing. The more you practice, the better for you. Because by the end of the day, you have to go away from these tutorials and courses, and you have to do it on your own. So it's like you're doing a theory and then you do 3 times practicing. Theory, 3 times practicing. So the ratio on the practice should be way higher than on watching, because watching is one thing, practicing is kind of like forging in your memory. It's very important. That's the difference actually between like beginner in software development and senior developer. It's amount of the practice they have. It's important to understand that learning software development, no matter how much time you learn it, at least the basics for you to get the job, it's just one big part. It's very important, but it's one first part. The second part is preparation for the interviews and searching for the job and getting the job. So preparation for the interviews, depending on the level, could take you a good amount of time as well, because you have to practice some things that you haven't done in your learning. It's a little different, and it's different from industries. Like if you're sales, like a preparation for interview could take you like a day or 2 or 3 maximum. Preparation for the coding interview could take you weeks, months, depending on the type of the interview. But it takes a good amount of time, and it's some skill to grow. And finding the job, like actually searching, making this funnel of like searching application interviews, that's also another time. It's more like a routine to do, but it's also like a taking amount of time. But actually preparation for the interviews and passing through these tech interviews, it's some level of the skill you have to master, at least like on average level, so you can get a job. That's important. It's a part 2. Part 1 is learning, part 2 is passing the interview, getting the job. So passing interview is important part. It's a big one. Sometimes it takes longer, sometimes it takes less. I cannot tell how long it will take, but it's of course less than the learning, but it's still challenging. Another big important thing to consider while through the journey of the learning, remember at the beginning we talked about making time. Allocate all these hours, let's say like from 1 to 5 hours a day. That's very precious time. Don't waste it. Don't wake up like in the morning. If you're waking up early in the morning, 3 hours before your normal hours, you wake up and you start reading Reddit news. No, you're whatever, like 30 minutes in the morning, or washing up, brushing your teeth, making coffee or something, water, go to your desk and start learning immediately. Don't open anything distracting. Don't waste your time. Don't message your friends. Don't read news. You can do that actually on your work, where you always have access to your mobile phone. Use that precious time very carefully. It was hard to get that, so don't waste it. The journey could take you, as I said, like 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, year, 2 years. 2 years is a little extreme, but it could be a true. It's still a big journey. While you're on that journey, it's important to still meet people, meet friends. You're meeting friends like once a week. It's great. It's beautiful. You're meeting friends or your family once a week, like watching a movie once a week. It's still fine on the weekend. Don't waste your time daily on something, but if you do it once a week, once in 2 weeks, making social time is important because you would need that through that heavy time when you have to think differently, learn new stuff, basically like physically working more than you used to, because you used to like be on a low energy doing like entertainment stuff, and now you have to work extra hours. It's important to have that small things which will balance your life and your journey, so you'll not get like way too crazy with just learning, because you will still want to meet people. It will boost your energy, it will boost your mood, and you will be full of, happiness to go back and learn and do stuff. Like it's not the reason to darken your daily life. You still want to like spicing it up. Your life still can be enjoyable. That's all the things I wanted to cover up here. If you like this video, please consider making a like. This is actually my first video. Subscribe and leave me comments. What do you think about it? Maybe what you want to hear in the next video, what you want to learn more about in the journey of getting to the software development while you're working, and what you want to learn about this industry or this journey itself. Thank you. Bye.